The anime begins with Risa arriving unannounced in Ojaizen's house. She seems angry because she was told she'd be sent packing if she did not break up with her boyfriend or find a way to improve her life. Risa vents her frustration to Ojaizen and thanks him for allowing her to spend the night at his place. She also adds that she would have gone to her friend's house, but she didn't want to bother them. On the other hand, Ojaizen smiles and compliments Risa's looks. It's been 6 years since he saw her, and she has become a sight to behold. One look at Ojaizen's apartment makes Risa understand that he's a stay-at-home kind of guy. Ojaizen confirms her claims, adding that he has a remote job, which is why he stays home. He then suggests that she rest while he finishes up his work. Risa immediately takes him up on the offer and rests, wishing everyone was as kind and understanding as Ojaizen. Just before she falls asleep, Ojaizen assures her that she can stay in his house for as long as she wants. It doesn't take long after that for Risa to find herself in deep sleep. Ojaizen finishes working on his laptop and checks on Risa while making sure not to disturb her. Ojaizen then moves closer so he can get a good grasp of how her personality has developed. He continues getting to know her better until he finally arrives at her apple pie and begins stirring its fillings to check their consistency. At this point, Risa gets a little fidgety, but she stays fast asleep. She even remains the same after Ojaizen removes the wrapper of her apple pie for a quick aroma check. Ojaizen is delighted with what's happening and goes on to wipe his drooling doorman with the apple pie cover. Not long after that, Risa wakes up and is shocked to see what Ojaizen is up to. She immediately questions him about it, but he's at a loss for words because of the surprise and struggles to explain. She then freaks out and yells at him, but soon finds out that he doesn't actually care about her emotions. One funny thing is that Ojaizen wants her to be obedient and follow what he says. He hates the fact that she's acting spoiled and ran away. Moreover, he wants to help correct her behavior by teaching her a hard life lesson with the help of his doorman. Just like that, Ojaizen gets Risa ready for his life lesson. He then takes that opportunity to further inspect her twin personalities and get an even better grasp of them. He quickly falls in love with them and ends up showing off his tongue twister skills on her pink jelly beans. Risa hates what's happening, but can't help but let out cultural sounds when he reaches for her apple pie. Things further escalate when Ojaizen shows off his apple pie mukbang skills for her, just to help her get her head in the game. Risa steps on Legos in no time and spills the caramelized juices of her apple pie all over Ojaizen. She then asks him to let her go home already, but he declines since she hasn't shown remorse for her spoiled behavior yet. Then, he promises to let her go under the condition that she allows him to appreciate her apple pie. Realizing he's only looking out for her, Risa accepts Ojaizen's condition. Of course, she doesn't forget to tell him to observe proper safety protocols for cultural appreciation. With that, Ojaizen goes on the appreciate Risa's apple pie like he always wanted to. Ojaizen is exhilarated that he can finally show his appreciation to Risa. It seems it's been a while since he's appreciated anyone, and that's why he's a little too eager with things. As he continues appreciating her apple pie, Risa can't help but let out plenty of cultural sounds as its caramelized juices overflow uncontrollably. Ojaizen can't even help himself from wondering who is the better man of culture between him and Risa. Although Risa says she hates Ojaizen's life lessons, she can't help continuously letting out cultural sounds while getting appreciated. It seems she's now in a hurry to make Ojaizen donate his liquid white gold so she can go. Her wishes are granted a few seconds after that as Ojaizen donates a hefty amount of his liquid white gold for science. Unfortunately, to Risa's surprise, Ojaizen's doorman is still in rage mode, and he wants to continue giving her life lessons until he's expended all its energy. Risa is left shocked, especially since she thought she was done with his life lessons. After a short break, another round of cultural life lectures begins with Ojaizen repeatedly appreciating her warm apple pie. He takes different angles and makes sure to utilize the little time he has to give her life lessons. It gets to a point where Risa begs to be spared so she can rest because she's already exhausted. She then says she wants to take a break and release some excess golden apple juice. However, since he wants to make sure that she's safe, Ojaizen goes with her. While releasing excess fresh golden apple juice, Ojaizen tries to help Risa by stirring her apple pie to help things flow faster. However, Risa gets embarrassed because she ends up accidentally spilling her apple pie's caramelized juices instead. Seeing her in such a state makes Ojaizen's doorman enter rage mode again. This time, it looks as if it got a quick energy boost. Risa is in disbelief that his doorman has returned to full power again. Several hours pass and Ojaizen is still giving Risa his hard life lessons. At that moment, Risa notices that it is morning already, and she asks if she can finally leave. However, Ojizen asks that she let him donate his liquid white gold one last time. Although exhausted by all his requests already, Risa agrees and then shows off her karaoke skills on his doorman. Then, Risa gets a call and they briefly pause their culture session. When Risa answers her phone, Ojizen seizes the opportunity to launch a sneak attack on her apple pie. As a result, Risa struggles to control her cultured voice while talking on the phone. Once done with the call, she notices that Ojizen is no longer observing the proper appreciation protection protocol. Scared of the repercussions, she asks Ojizen to end the cultural session, but he insists since he is close to delivering his final shipment of liquid white gold that day. Finally, Ojizen loses control and accidentally deposits a substantial amount of liquid white gold directly into Risa's bank account. Meanwhile, Risa falls down to the floor, regretting that she ran to Ojizen's house the previous night. Later when she arrives home, Risa ignores everyone and goes straight to her room. While there, she receives a message from Ojizen, saying that she can stop by his place anytime she wants. A few days later, Risa arrives at Ojizen's house looking for some more of his hard life lessons. She uses her twin personalities to calm Ojizen's enraged Doryman. Ojizen quickly assumes that she has taken a liking to him, not knowing that she is just there to pass the night. Risa mentions that she is still having issues at home. She continues calming down Ojizen's Doryman with her twin personalities, but switches angles when asked to show him her tongue twister skills. At some point, Ojizen's Doryman goes berserk and finally donates its liquid white gold again. Risa is left disgusted as she rejects the liquid white gold. Meanwhile, Ojizen gets a call and confirms that Risa is with him. After the call, Risa immediately snaps at him for giving out her location. On the other hand, he clarifies it so they wouldn't worry since they know she's in a safe place. He then accompanies Risa home that evening and drops her off. While there, Ojizen advises everyone not to be too strict on Risa so she does not end up becoming a delinquent. Even if the advice is from someone like Ojizen, it's still taken into consideration by the rest. Risa takes a shower while Ojizen is busy having conversations downstairs. During that time, she notices that her twin personalities have grown even more. When she's all freshened up, she goes to be and suddenly realizes that the culture within her is going out of control. Suddenly, Ojizen walks into the room and informs her that he is sleeping over. He then snoops around her stuff and ends up going to get a good grasp of her twin personalities. Risa tells him not to give her any of his hard life lessons that night because it's not the right place and time. However, Ojizen doesn't listen to her as usual and goes on to prepare her for another round of life lessons. The first thing he does is stir the fillings of her apple pie to check their consistency, and once he's content, he goes on to show off his apple pie mukbang skills. Risa can't help but let out cultural sounds until she accidentally spills some of her apple pie's caramelized juices right on Ojizen's face. Being the man of culture that he is, Ojizen isn't fazed and instead moves on to the next stage and peels off the wrapper of Risa's apple pie. He then goes on to stir the apple pie until more caramelized juices overflow and it's ready for a proper appreciation. As much as Risa claims that she hates Ojizen, she actually likes how he appreciates her apple pie. She even lets him show off his tongue twister skills on her pink jelly beans until they get enraged. However, all the cultural sounds she's making catch the attention of people in the house. The good thing is that they only think Risa is on her phone, so she only gets a warning to go to bed already. Once they're clear, Ojizen continues piston-gatling Risa relentlessly, ignoring the fact that he might get caught. It goes on till he eventually can no longer hold back from depositing his liquid white gold directly into her bank account. Risa also fails to hold back and lets out a cultural yell. Fortunately, it doesn't seem to have bothered the other people in the house. She is then relieved that Ojizen is done, but much to her surprise, he still has plenty of life lessons left to give her. She declines to get another life lesson from him and only agrees to show him some of her self-reliant skills. Surprisingly, having Ojizen watch her closely makes her crave his hard life lesson. Ojizen catches on and immediately begins stirring her apple pie again, and he even pokes around her chocolate factory to see its condition. Just like that, Risa gives into her feelings and yields to the culture rising within her. She finds her mind slowly drifting while getting appreciated by Ojizen's Doryman on the balcony. However, she quickly snaps back into reality when she realizes that she's being rude to the other people in the house who are already sleeping. Of course, Ojizen just goes on with his appreciation even after Risa voices her concerns. He believes the others in the house are fast asleep so they won't be able to hear them. However, just to be safe, he lets Risa face the window so she can use it to muffle the cultural sounds she's making since it is soundproof. He then stops holding back and piston Gatlings her apple pie until he can feel that it's almost the right time. Strangely enough, unlike the last time, Risa does not complain at all. Instead, she holds herself in place and anticipates the final lesson that Ojizen is about to deliver. Just like that, Ojizen's Doryman manages to find her weakness easily and make her step on Legos. Ojizen takes advantage of the opportunity and deposits all of his liquid white gold directly into her bank account. Risa can't help but have a convulsion while her bank account begins to overflow with liquid white gold. Despite that, she still allows him to appreciate her apple pie once again. The following morning, Ojizen is nowhere to be found. As for Risa, she's fast asleep, too exhausted to even move an inch because of the relentless appreciation that Ojizen gave her the other night.